And without further ado, welcome everyone to today's webinar. I'm joined here by the Launch ISP team, who are currently running an equity crowdfunding campaign through Birchal. My name is Claire. I'm one of the campaign managers here at Birchal, and although Melbourne is out of lockdown, I'm still broadcasting from home, so please forgive my background. But I am delighted today to be joined by Daniel and Daniel from the Launch ISP team in my top left corner, and by Shaun down the bottom. Welcome.
How you going?
Hello everyone.
Howdy. Hello.
So in today's information session for everyone who's attending, it's a really high level get to know you session. So there'll be about a 20-minute Q&A between myself and the guys from Launch ISP, and then we'll open the floor to questions from the audience. As I said, we are recording the session and we will be posting it on socials later. So if you miss out or you'd like to share it with anyone afterwards, you're very free to do so. But Launch ISP, over to you guys. Tell me, how did we get to this point? How did Launch ISP start and what problem did you set out to solve?
Yeah. Well, it's been quite a journey. We've got a background in the telecommunications industry. 2007, actually, we found Bitcoin and sort of bought a little bit and thought, well, what is this technology? Started trading as well, and then started looking into the coins a little bit in the technology that they all done as well, and came across Skycoin, and the technology itself actually sort of fitted that background on what we have been doing for the past, close to 20 years. So it's like, how can we implement that technology into what we do? And through a couple of years of research there and looking at that, it's like there's something here, and there's a technology change happening. So, we sort of dug a little bit deeper on it and went, wow, okay, there is definitely something here that we can fit into a business model. And the rest is history on that side of it. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about that journey with Skycoin and what you do. You say you've got 20 years of experience. I think for some of the people attending the webinar, just a bit more of an overview of the background that you guys have come from and what the core product of Launch ISP is.
Yeah, could you do that one?
Yeah, so background. Daniel and myself have been part of probably the biggest telecommunications network in Australia for U20, me, 12 to 15 years. And through that time, we've seen so many technology changes from CDM through to 3G, 4G, and now, we're seeing 5G rollout, NBN rollouts, etc. So we've seen a lot of advancements in technology, and I think that's what really got us excited about this partnership with Skycoin, because of the technology that they have and the ability for us to roll that out into Australia and make it accessible to Australians. That's what really got us excited. I think just the fundamentals behind it are really strong. Privacy, and we'll probably go into a little bit more of the simplex of it. It does get pretty complicated, and Dan is right across a lot of that. But I think just the fundamentals of the privacy.
The speed as well that it's going to create through the wireless mesh technology as well. So the rollout of the NBN at the moment costing billions and billions of dollars, whereas we can do a fixed wireless solution, a hybrid solution, where the current technology meets the new technology, and outages and even the rollout alone is it's pennies on the dollar or cents on the dollar. So and the people can actually become a part of this network. So instead of having your big corporations and everyone owning all the technology, you can actually have the end user have a bit of technology and to be able to on-sell that data in the near future as well. The people can become a part of the infrastructure and actually earn from it as well.
Even the people like around the town or the current town, they can't get easy access to internet. So part of that was giving them easier, getting more and more people access to the internet, because it's almost a necessity now. Everyone has the internet. Being around the town we're in, even 5 or 6 k's out, people can't even get the internet easily. So being able to offer that to those kind of people using this technology is exciting.
Amazing. So then the product that Launch ISP has, just to sort of summarize, is that we have these huge corporations like Telstra and these other big companies that are rolling all these technologies like NBN, 5G, tinfoil hats, all going on and all this kind of thing. But there's still lots of Australians that still can't access internet. So Launch ISP's product is to help Australians across the country access the internet, using an integration with SkyCoin, but also you can on-sell the data that you don't use. Is that correct?
You want to go?
Yeah, sorry, I just seen the question pop up. Can you start that one again?
All good. Don't look at the questions yet. We're not up to that yet. I love this. The person's just gone, sorry, in little brackets.
Yeah.
Just summarising then the Launch ISP product, in sort of competition with these larger corporations like Telstra and big telcos that are all around the country, the goal and mission of Launch ISP is to give people access to fast internet using integration with SkyCoin. But if they don't use all their internet, they can actually on-sell it and get an income similar to how it works with solar panels. Or
yeah, correct. Yeah, so it's that side of it is still in development at this point in time. Shout out to the SkyCoin team and hashtag Skyfleet, all of yous. Yeah, so the model is mainly based off of the current wireless technology, where we'll be selling a main fibre link from our hub. And then from that point, once we can start connecting up the SkyCoin hardware, the Sky miners, that's when all of the other on-selling will start happening as well. But not to mention as well, there's a VPN that's just been released by the SkyCoin team as well, which secures your privacy as well. So that's in beta at the moment. But yeah, as soon as that goes live for the mainstream as well, because it's in the news everywhere at the moment where your data is getting ripped away from you and sold, and privacy, a lot of people want their privacy back as well. So that's something that's also released at the moment. So that's going to be a very big game changer as well.
You made mention of the rebates, the traffic, which is in development, but a really exciting proposition. And we think about businesses that use internet during the day, and more than likely have no usage outside of 8 to 6. That unused bandwidth can go back into the network, and they can be incentivized for having an internet connection that is idle, but they start to get some rebates into it. So as it develops, there's a lot of great well use cases that people can benefit from. So
and VPNs from business to business as well, and creating their own networks as such, and private networks, like on a mining site, for example, where you can't get internet. This technology in the future, you'll be able to roll it out on site and have connection, an internal connection there as well.
So just for myself, because I'm not super deep into this industry or this space, and I know we're going to have a technical webinar next week for those attending who are interested in the weeds of how this technology works. But just winding back a little bit, what is SkyCoin again, and when did your partnership with SkyCoin?
Wow, that's what is SkyCoin? It's a beast of a product. That's what it is. I'd recommend for people to actually, if they do want to know about SkyCoin a little bit more, to jump on the SkyCoin website. Just Google SkyCoin, you'll find it. But they have a huge range of products, and what we're doing with SkyCoin, and just to mention as well, an official announcement went out today from SkyCoin with a partnership with us as well.
Oh wow! Yay!
Yeah. So there's a lot of hard work and dedication, but to get that partnership, you have to run the gauntlet of the whole community as well. So you have to get their approval before you get to the bigger guys at the top. But great community. Yeah, so that partnership just got dropped. Yeah, what, an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago, which is really good.
Amazing. Congratulations, guys. It sounds like an enormous community, and it's great to be sort of formally recognised by them as a partner they want to be working with. So in terms of from here, we've learned a little about the business model, a little bit why you've started the company. I'm interested to know about who your ideal customer is. And then I'm also interested to know what you're raising funds for now, and why now is the time to be raising funds.
I mean, ideal customer, it can be anyone, but I think Shaun mentioned it before. You know, where it really hits home is where, you know, we've got people with connection issues, and you know, one of the things that really triggered it a while back was, you know, my connection going down. I reckon it was 10 days without internet, and you know, I trade as well as a bit of a side hustle, but lots of my business is done online at home before COVID, and everyone was working from home. I've been working from home for, you know, 2 years sort of thing. So 10 days without internet, it did have a failover to a 3G connection because the coverage here isn't as good. But you imagine 2 kids streaming online, me trying to work online, it just didn't handle it. That's where we got talking, and we're like, you know, if this was to happen, is there a solution where we're not, you know, tied into that one point of connect? And that's what we're really trying to achieve, is that, you know, if that was to occur, you know, if you were to go down, you can then hop onto, you know, another connection, and it'll be a seamless connect. So, you know, and then driving that back into the ideal customer, I think if the ideal customer is, you know, anyone that really wants to break away from these larger corporations where, you know, they make billions of dollars on our data. You know, everything that goes through that network is seen. You know, the cost point of view, like as our network grows, it actually decreases in cost, and people benefit from it if are part of that network as well. So it's affordable as well. So you know, strong uploads, downloads is in the plans, but also at a very affordable rate. So, you know, if more so than ever, you know, we're trying to save a couple of dollars, you know, this will be a great solution for that as well. We've got a max number that we will ever assign to a site. So, you know, your experience on the network is going to be strong. It's not going to be oversubscribed. You know, we're not going to have those same issues because we're not going to put profits over the experience that our people are going to have. And that's one of the mandates that we set really early, is that we want people to have a really good experience, to really enjoy the Launch brand. And as we grow, you know, how can we give back into that brand, into the people as well? And that can be through numerous ways and things that we're still working on. But, you know, some exciting things there that we want to, you know, release, and something, you know, as you know, Claire, like we want to disrupt the industry. We want to do things differently. We got the opportunity to do it right from the start. So, you know, ideal customer, it can be anyone. And then businesses, you know, it makes sense that, you know, they can put a piece of equipment into their business, and then they get rebated for unused bandwidth as well. But then they also get rebates for the actual device. So, you know, there's a big play there.
So just before I hop on to why you're raising capital, because you've actually triggered another question in my mind. So tell me a little bit more about the revenue model of Launch ISP. Now, I do understand it's a pre-market product, and you guys are busy putting all the ducks in the row to get this thing to market. And I know that you're launching it from your hometown of Murray Bridge in South Australia. But how does that work? How does Launch ISP intend to make money, and what are the costs for a user or a business to use your service?
So we're trying to keep it very simple with, you know, 1 or 2 connection plans or plans. And then from a revenue model, it'd be very similar to a current ISP where they've got a monthly charge. So our end users would have a monthly charge. On top of that, Launch ISP will get a rebate for the hardware that we've got, and then in development, because we've got this hardware, as it rolls out, we'll get rebated for traffic that goes through the network. So there'll be 3 points of revenue creation right now. There's other things that we're sort of working on, but we want to, circling back to it, we want to just create a brilliant experience to start with for our customers that we can sort of build on. So Daniel is forever talking about different features that the SkyKing community are working on, and that we just have to quiet him down and show focus, and just really focus on just getting this out right. So that's how the revenue model works. And again, we've sort of built it to that point where we don't need to oversubscribe. We've got our max number of customers that we want per site, and I think that's an exciting thing because if you're part of that community, then we don't see there being a desire to leave, and that can also drive demand, because if people know that Launch is a quality company to be part of, and to have a connection through, then as we expand into different areas, word of mouth will be there for people to sign on. Because if we can only have so many, it's that old Apple game where Apple launches a phone and they only allow 10% of stock to come out on launch day, and you've got lineups everywhere. So that's not the intent. The intent is to create a better experience, but I think that will also help.
That'll help growth.
Yeah, and as you say, as the network grows, the idea is that the network grows, cost of efficiencies, not only for yourselves, but for your users also improves as well, which is really tying into that idea of community, which is great. So tell me a little bit more now about the capital raise. Ideally, in a perfect world, how much are you looking to raise? What's it for? And what does your roadmap look like for the next, 6 months?
You want to see us?
You think it's better than me on that one.
We should go to our chief accountant.
Yeah. Okay. So sorry, Shaun. I'll just jump in on hardware and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Start off with. So, the raise is to actually get the first hub started with equipment, antennas, and all that as well. Those who own businesses probably understand that there's a lot more that goes into it as well, with leases and lawyers as well to get everything written up, fibre link payments, insurance, wage as well. I'd be full time going into this as well. So there's a lot of things like that there for the normal capital raise as well. Minimum we're looking at around 180,000 at this point. So that's where our figures have landed. But that's mainly what the capital raise is for, just to get that first hub off the ground, and get the antennas up and get the network beaming out to everyone.
Yeah, I mean, even and the capital raise is to start buying these miners for the hub. So I mean, how much is one of those miners each, Dan?
So 2,000 US, so around 3 delivered to Australia, 3,300.
Yeah, so the hub has to have those, and then to be able to produce the internet here. So I have one in my house, Dan has one in his house, but we need a lot more than to initially start that.
Yeah.
To start the ball rolling. So
I know from the conversations that we've had that you, in your offer document, which will be hopefully ready for a bit of a draft circulation in the next 2 weeks or so, we'll have a bit more detail about how that works with the miners, with the hubs and revenue model and all that sort of thing, which is awesome. So my next question is then, why crowdfunding? I know the reasons why, but tell me what drew you to crowdfunding?
Yeah, well, it was actually quite funny. Just one day through one of our good friends over in London. He owns Start Payments. It's a digital payment solution. Bit of a name drop there for man over in London for his company. But he recently went through a crowdfund as well. And I do a weekly or a fortnightly call with him, and he's like, why don't you look at crowdfunding? And I was like, oh, we never thought of that. So I had a chat to Daniel about it. It's like, oh, well, let's give it a shot. Done a quick Google search, and you guys, well, Birchal was up the top. So I was like, all right, let's get in contact and see what this process looks like. And yeah, here we are. We're on a call with you still. So yeah, that's how it all started.
Even, I mean, the banks won't even like look at it. I mean, as soon as we move on to banks with other stuff, just to even open bank accounts, and as soon as the word crypto is mentioned, they shut their doors and won't even come near us. So it's you got a traditional means for financing is not there. So
yeah, and I think as well, one of the benefits of crowdfunding is, you know, raising this capital and getting this community around you. You are getting really like-minded people that want to invest in Launch ISP. You're probably not going to get people, and this is across any campaign that we run, people who aren't interested in what you're doing and want to see this company succeed, engaging, investing in it, which is great, because once you raise your funds, ideally in a successful campaign and going forward, you probably got your initial customers, the initial network around you that want to help and see it grow. So yeah, really thrilled to help you guys out with it. A question that has come through in the past is about competition and about other players in this space. So how is Launch ISP different to the others that are operating in this area?
Yeah, sure. So with the fixed wireless technology, we've only got one real main player that we're up against regionally in South Australia. But we do have exclusive rights to this technology as well from SkyCoin. So we're very lucky that we were able to navigate that agreement with them as well. And for fixed wireless, that is. And then I think, you know, if we're going against the other competitors that are, you know, fibre to the node, fibre to the premise, fibre to the basement, you know, we're still coming in at an affordable cost, which is well under sort of what they're doing as well. But yeah, I think the competition.
I think competition in its true sense, you know, isn't really there, because I think, you know, what we're offering is really unique and different to anything that Australia's probably ever had offered. And because of that sort of technology and focus on you know, the customer as well, where we're not going to sort of oversubscribe, and, you know, we've got a really good roadmap to roll this out. You know, it doesn't. There's no other, let's say, a competitor that would tick all the boxes as a competitor. You know, in the ISP world, it's very competitive. You've got the big players that have, you know, obviously the biggest has a good 37+% share in the market. But it just means that when we come into it, it just means there's so much opportunity though, because we're not going for a massive grab. We know what we want, and I think that's what's going to benefit us, is because, you know, we're not going for a huge grab, that everyone is a potential customer, because everyone can get the internet. And, you know, what, 97% of current households have the internet, or, you know, have some sort of connection. So we're not demanding much of that market share, and that's the exciting thing. So that, you know, as we go into market, you know, if we hit our modest goals, it's still a very successful company, and, you know, we're doing some real good. And yeah, so it's one of those hard ones, the competitor side. There are competitors left, right, and centre, but when it's all stacked up, they're not. It's a different sort of.
And I guess the new player that, well, not new, but the new people that are coming out is Starlink as well, by Elon Musk. I've seen that it's $99. I've seen the post come out last night as well, with not too bad speeds, but, you know, I personally, or we personally, see that Starlink can actually help us grow for regional areas. And we can use them as an actual backhaul or a link to the main internet as such as well. So That's probably one of the main sort of players that we'd be up against, but still the technology is different to what we're offering as well. So it still doesn't tick all those boxes as our competitor as such. But yeah, we can definitely utilize Starlink satellites to go even more regional as well.
And I know that
especially sorry, well, especially in regional areas like obviously the big ISPs, people go to them because that's the only choice they have. They have no other. So offering them that, they're not necessarily going with the two big ones because they like what they offer. They're not customer focused. So it's the only choice they have. So giving those people in regional areas and around Australia another choice, the competition, it's not there. So, but yeah.
It's great to hear. And look, I know we've got a little bit through Launch ISP and the business model to now, and I've got a few more questions for you, but I'd love to take this opportunity to open it up to the audience that's attending today and see if anyone's got any questions for you. For those attending, you can use the Q&A button down the bottom, or you can send us a link in the chat box and we can answer your questions here while we've got the two Daniels and Shaun with us. So ask your questions away. But I think the question that I might have just to kick off is just explain a little bit more about return on investment for investors. I know you can't talk about future projected financials because we are operating under a crowdfunding round, but thoughts about exit opportunities for investors who get involved at this early stage if you're planning to pay dividends. I know there's also a reward system where you can partner with this investment opportunity and discounts and things like that. So what are your initial thoughts over a return on investment for investors wanting to come on board?
Did you want to handle it, Shaun?
Yeah. So I mean, dividends. So we're offering so obviously shares in the business. So there'll be obviously dividends paid out when there's profits and stuff like that. So we're still working through the percentage of shareholding and stuff like that. But so there will be a return in terms of dividends. You own part of the business, so when the business gets valued, obviously there'll be an amount put on your share value and stuff like that. So that's in terms of the financial terms. But I know Daniel's have been talking about offering a reward or whatever in terms of what they get back and stuff. So you'd be able to think around that.
What was that one? I couldn't quite hear.
Sorry. Sorry, I was just talking. I mean, is there any you guys have been talking about offering the shareholders a reward and
so we do have some hardware wallets for Skycoin as well that we will give away to people that invest a certain amount as well, which will be released shortly, and possibly some t-shirts and hats as well. We'd like to see people cruising around Australia in Launch apparel. That'd be pretty cool.
I mean, in the works, we've got some sort of host programs that we're looking at where we'll put a sky miner in an actual location, obviously very strategically based, that we're still working through. And again, it probably depends on the raise as to where we get to with that. Coming back to return on investment, I mean, the initial funds that will be used to grow the first site, and if we can get to the goal raise, we'll be quickly accelerating the second site, and from there, the profits will be reinvested back into growing out Launch. And it's a really hard one. Projections look good, and I think now is obviously the best time to become part of Launch ISP, because you'll never get probably a cheaper way to buy in. It's hard to go without, there's a lot of faith and trust put into us to get this right. But I think with the experience that we've had in the industry, and the exclusivity arrangement with Skycoin, the partnership announced today, we've got the technology there to back us. We've got the know-how around getting it out to the people with we've been part of the game for a while. So, we just want to, we've learned what works and what doesn't work. And, now it's just a matter of getting this first raise, getting our first site up and going. And, we went live with the EOI, a week or two ago. And, I've had numerous messages of people, trying to sign up to launch. It's like, no, we're still raising, but, and that's the exciting thing, where, I've had random messages saying, how can I connect? So, and that's just from a couple of little shares that we've done on social. There's been, there's no material out there to capture an audience, but I think when we get down into it, people are sick of it's an industry that people are not happy with. I think out of source that I've seen, 53% of respondents were not happy with that ISP. There has to be a reason, and just go to your own situation. Has there been a time where you're not happy, and why? So if we can eliminate some of that, that will really help. But I'll probably move away from the question. But return on investment, I think it's a great time to become part of it. Our goal is to not really be debt burdened, and we'll use working capital to reinvest back into the business, so that in time our shareholders will really get the benefits of it, and there'll be greater rewards for them as well. But yeah, it's an exciting roadmap. Again, we have to be very careful with it, but as you'll see in the offer document that will come out in the next sort of couple of weeks, some exciting things that we're working on and we've got. And yeah, so you're on mute, Claire.
I'm mute. There we are. I know a lot of the information is going to be there in the offer document, but can you give us a bit of a sneak peek into your expected timelines on first signups and first customers being serviced under launch? So let's say you raise the capital, you get your first hub, you get the miners in from the US. Oops, I knocked my desk. When do you think you'd be able to get your first users onto launch?
Yeah, sure. So we're projecting March, 1st of March, or around the first week of March. We've got all our ducks lined up, ready to go with licenses and everything. So once we hit that minimum amount that we're after, we can really put our foot to the floor and get everything done. We'd love to get it sooner. So if we can raise it quicker, we're ready to go.
Well, I know your EOI campaign does finish on November the 6th, which is next week. So all things going to plan, people will be able to invest in this offer the week after next, which will be great. I've had another question come through, and this is something I know you probably touch upon in the off document, but one attendee is interested to know that of how many of the funds raised are going to go to wages.
Now, initially, the only real wage commitment would be Daniel, as he'll be full-time around the sales and the rollout of it. And then the only other wage to start with is the tech, because we have to do installs at each individual house that signs up. So from a percentage point of view, from the top of my head, I won't be able to say. It will be in the document, but it's not a lot. We're not, we're in it for the long game. And even Daniel's wage isn't anything crazy. So the goal is to invest into the equipment, get that right, and then we go from there. So yeah, it's just to cover 1.5 wages to start with, sort of thing, at pretty much base rates. So.
Because that's the thing that I want to highlight to investors looking at this deal is because we are raising funds under an ASIC regime, which you can go check it out if you want. It's Regulation 261. It's will definitely put you to sleep if you're into a bit of nighttime reading. But it's a very heavily regulated industry that we're operating in. So when you look at the offer document before your investment, if the Launch ISP doesn't put the money to where they say it's going to go, there's very heavy consequences for them. So yeah, rest assured, every effort's being made when they say in the offer document what the money's going towards, it goes towards that. So people don't take $180,000 and just run off for the hills with it, which is great. So look, I think at the moment we don't have any more questions from the audience, but afterwards I know that you'll be getting in touch with everyone who attended to have a chat to them and to see if they've got any more questions for you. But on that note, is there anything you'd like to leave potential investors with?
I think we just seen another thing come through. Is this state, national, and international opportunity? Great question. So yeah, we have had interest shown in South Australia and all around Australia for other hubs to be starting as well. So and that's just from small talk really, and we're already getting that interest. We also do have interest from the UK in London. So yeah, so what we can possibly do would be a worldwide thing that we can do. Definitely, we're not limited to just South Australia. So
and our exclusivity agreement covers Australia and New Zealand. So an additional question came up, but yeah, so Australia and New Zealand, we do have exclusivity with the technology. So our longer term goal is to expand into New Zealand as well, and there have been expressions of interest, like Daniel said, in the UK as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I was just on a call this week actually, and they were still asking about it. So, which is exciting. Yeah.
Amazing. Someone's just said for the question, to be clear, they were always interested in starting a mesh share ISP. Is the offering that you're doing like that? Is it mesh share or peer-to-peer? I think maybe I asked that question wrong. You guys might understand the question better.
ISP. It's like a mesh network. Yeah, it creates a mesh network. That's what it's not peer-to-peer. It's mesh.
Oh yeah, all right. Yeah, so when I read SIP, that's voice over internet.
Yeah.
Sorry,
it's just creating a mesh network.
Ask that. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm glad you guys cleared that up for me as well, which is great. So, look, I mean, thank you everyone who's attended today. I want to make sure that everyone can definitely get on with their day. And as I mentioned at the start of this session, there will be a technical webinar coming up in the next week or so for those who'd like to tune in to learn more about the nitty-gritties of Launch ISP and how that works. But you'll get more information from the Launch ISP guys about how that will take off and how that will be run. So yeah, guys, it was really exciting to have you here today and great to learn a little bit more about what you're doing. It sounds really cool, and I wish you all the best for your capital raise. As I said, your expression of interest campaign will end next week, which is great, and hopefully people will be able to get involved the week after that. But on that note, is there anything you guys would like to leave people?
Yeah, I want to go back to that mesh share or point-to-point peer-to-peer. So yeah, basically to start off with our hybrid stuff, it will be your traditional point to multi-point setup. And then once the Sky miners can all start talking to each other via the antenna, that will be a full mesh then as well. So development is happening with that there, and the developers are working overtime. So
thinking outside of that, we're very active on social. If people do have any questions, shoot them through. We've got the email that was sent out to everyone that you can send through any other questions. We've had a few come through to that we've responded directly to. But yeah, I think if there are any little questions, big questions, it doesn't matter. Just send it through. We'll try and hit that on the head. And as Claire said, the goal is to have little bit more of a advanced, from a tech point of view, webinar next week as well, just to answer any of those sort of questions.
If you've got any questions, please shoot them through beforehand. If you want to compile a list, and we can fire it all back at you as quick as we can.
Awesome. And just on the note, someone's popped in a comment about sharing with their network, which is awesome. Want to alert everyone to the fact that Birchal has a pretty good referral scheme. So if you log into Birchal, you go to the Launch ISP profile where you would have expressed interest. There's a button there on the profile that says invite. And if you click that button, you'll get a unique URL code, which you can share with your network. And the reward that we offer is that anyone who shares their link and has someone who then goes on to invest gets a percentage of our fee. So we will pay you to be sharing this around with your network. So get sharing. Thank you so much again, Launch ISP, Daniel and Shaun. It was great to have you here today. This session's been recorded and it should be up on the web, hopefully by the end of the day.
Yeah,
Excellent.
excellent.
Thanks, Claire. Thanks everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.